Welcome to Searching for the Question Live. My name is David Orban, and I am very glad to have you following the show. Before we start, I want to remind you that we are live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter simultaneously. And of course, you are watching it on either of these channels, but you can also subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And we also have a Discord community, and you can join to continue the conversation on davidorban.com/Discord to talk about the various topics that we cover on the channel. And finally, if you find the content that I produce together with my team valuable, you can become a supporter on patreon.com/David Orban. Today we are talking about the networks of South Korea, because the wave of technologies that are independently developing, things like digital manufacturing or blockchain technologies, solar photovoltaics, are worldwide. And these are all supporting novel business models that are more decentralized and less hierarchical than previously possible. And today's entrepreneurs have a global outlook and take advantage of the new opportunities to create the future. So this is impacting really every community, every society. And today we want to talk about how it is impacting South Korea and entrepreneurship and the startup ecosystem with Hugh Choi, connected with us from Seoul. Welcome, Hugh.
Hey, hello.
So the first question has nothing to do with what I just said, but it's a curiosity I have. At what age, typically, people in South Korea pick a Western name?
It's quite tricky question because I don't know.
So at what age did you pick your Western name?
My Western name, I picked it around 25 something. Yeah.
Okay. Because in my notes, I also wrote down your Korean name.
Yes.
But I chickened out and I didn't dare to try to pronounce it. Can you pronounce it for me, please?
Okay. My name is Hyunguk. My last name is Choi, so it was so-called Choi Hyunguk. But it's not easy for Western people to pronounce it.
Yeah, we would need more training.
Yes, please. That's why Korean language is quite strong language to express many different characters.
Does it ever happen that a non-Korean, a Westerner, let's say, picks a Korean name instead?
Oh yes. These days there are so many foreigners that came to Korea in order to get a job, whatever. Then they start to pick their Korean name. It's quite similar to their original,
as a sound or as a meaning.
Yeah. David Orban. Actually, Orban in Korea means that very good dining. Right dining for good health.
So wonderful. I may pick a Korean name as well. I already picked a Chinese name.
Oh, okay.
And that was before going to China for the first time, because I wanted to have a business card to be able to hand over, and I wanted the business card to have the Chinese characters. And that was a lot of fun because I went to Chinatown in New York. I stopped the first person I met there, and I said, "Hey, my name is David Orban. I want to pick a Chinese name. These are my values." I prepared a little presentation on my phone, so I showed her the presentation, and it was amazing because it turned out that the person was a teacher at a at the Taoist school,
Mhm.
and she was teaching Chinese to New Yorkers.
Yeah.
So she was very excited, and we worked on the characters and the meaning and everything. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I may do that with a Korean name as well.
Probably, Chinese name using Chinese characters. So we have also same, similar pronunciation for Chinese character.
So my Chinese name is Owen Dao.
Owen Dao. So
Owen Dao.
Owen Dao, probably Owen Dao means two character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So two character, maybe they have a Chinese character of each of it. So
Yes.
we can pronounce it in Korean.
Ah,
Differently.
so I would show you the Chinese characters, and then you
Yes.
would tell me what the Korean pronunciation is.
Yes, yes.
All right. Well, we may do that later in the show. If
Yeah,
I
later. Yeah.
if I find it, I will show it. Another thing that I like to do with my guests on the show is to actually give our viewers an idea of where each of us is, because I am speaking to you from Bergamo, Italy. You are
Okay.
in Seoul,
Yes.
South Korea. So there you go. Now we are taking off on Google Earth. That's Europe. And we are now landing in Seoul in Asia.
Wow, so fast.
Yeah, very fast, absolutely. And people who don't know a lot about South Korea, certainly they know Samsung, the phone maker,
Mhm.
and they make televisions and so many other things. And another thing that they certainly know is Gangnam Style, the song, the K-pop song from a few years ago that had billions of views on YouTube.
Yes,
But
30 billion.
what
Yes.
not everybody knows is that Gangnam is actually an area of Seoul. It's hip a quarter of Seoul, right?
Yes. Southern part of the Seoul. Yes.
Yes.
That's it. Yes.
So are you in Seoul or a little bit outside? Where are you as the area?
I living in quite nearby Seoul, because I live in Suwon. It's a suburban city of Seoul. It's just quite closer. But my office actually located in Seoul. So I have to commute, from suburban of Seoul to the Seoul every day.
Wow. And how long does that take?
With the traffic jam, it's an hour probably, but without traffic jam, just 30 minutes.
So you use the car rather than the train and a subway?
No. Mostly I use the subway because I have a subway station in my home, and also subway station in my office. Though this moment, because of COVID-19, there are so many difficult, because I have to wear a mask,
Yeah.
and there are so many people inside. So these days I use my car, but mostly before COVID-19 I use my subway.
And Seoul was one of the countries that was impacted, apparently the strongest, right after China.
Yeah.
And at the time we didn't know. It was around the end of February, beginning of March, what the trajectory would be.
Yes.
But as of right now, it looks like Korea has been able to contain the contagion very, very effectively, and that is attributed to the widespread testing and tracking of infected or suspected infected individuals. Have you experienced that first person as well? Have you been tested in one of those drive-through test places, for example?
Unfortunately I didn't, because I'm healthy. No actually the symptom. So anyhow, just that's very funny, interesting story, because Actually, we had a experience in 2015. It's MERS. You heard of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Came from the East Asia. So we have a very uh, a big failure at the time because there are many people died, and our the CDC actually cannot protect that kind of stuff well. So that's why we learn from that the previous experience. So we need the information, we need the transparency, we need the technology, we need the diagnostic kit, whatever. There are so many things actually required. So we learn it and then we developed it. So the beginning of the
importantly, it hasn't been forgotten. So all that learning was kept, and it was ready to be deployed.
Yes. Not only by citizen, I mean the government, hospital, and expert, and also citizenship actually participate in their campaigns and the movement. So yeah. So
And
also Drivethru idea came from government officer, not by citizen.
sorry, I didn't catch that.
Oh, okay. So the idea of the Drivethru diagnostic pass line, actually that idea came from governmental officer.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very good. What is the perception of the privacy implications of the kind of tracking that is being done? Let me put it in context. In many countries of the world, now apps are being developed and deployed for contact tracing. And Apple and Google famously issued updates to their operating systems to support a kind of data collection that is expected to balance the need of tracing potential infections with the fear from individuals that the government is going to be able to map their movements with an excessive degree of control. And the way that this is achieved is that the platforms and the applications do not collect GPS coordinates. So they don't collect your location and they don't store your location. They only cross reference your phone being near another phone via Bluetooth, independently of where the two phones are in physical space. And then if one of the phones belongs to somebody who is found out to be infected anytime in the future, within a couple of weeks' time, of course, then all the other phones are alerted. You were close to an infected person, go get tested. And contrary to that, as far as I understand, the South Korean app also tracks GPS coordinates.
Yes.
Do you know that? And are people fine with that? They are not concerned that their location data is going to be stored by the government?
There is two different mechanisms. One is that by application by their phone. So when you enter Korean the country to the airport, then probably you have to the submit your application and you have to download app for tracking all your trajectory. Also you have to report daily condition every day. They contain GPS coordinate and then they track them. But the other way is that because of the MERS the tragedy in 2015, our Congress actually revised the law legal system. When you have any very difficult situation, the government can control get the data from the base station from the cellular company. So that's a totally different story. So when we go to any place, then we have to my phone actually register their location with a base station nearby. Then it automatically log every data. So that data is quite private. So the cellular company only the get the data. But when we have any dangerous situation for impacted people happen, then government ask cellular company to get those data to look at it. So when we have things happen, then we know which people what people come to here when and when they move, where they move. So they track them one by one because of the technology.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you asked very crucial point is that it is private, very very privacy things, right? But in Korea nowadays people realize this is even private data though. It could be kind of commons for public health, public safety. So we believe even the government can know this data, my location though. Government don't disclose my any private personal information, name, maybe occupation, whatever. They don't disclose anything. They just disclose 31st impacted person visit this place, when and where, and 31st impacted people move next place. So only information for people learn about their dangerous trajectory. So
Yeah.
we believe that. So this information kind of personal information could be now commons data.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, I think that it is important actually to learn about different approaches so that we can then compare
Mhm.
which approach works best. One of the most important examples of these different approaches is the use of masks,
Mm,
because
that's number one. Yes.
masks, whether in Japan or Taiwan or South Korea or China too, were not universally worn, but they are pretty common on the streets. People were accustomed both seeing and wearing masks
Mm,
before the pandemic, and then they would decide, okay, I have a cold, I will put on a mask, and so on. So when the pandemic came, the masks use became universal,
universal. Yes.
without any issue and without anybody even imagining that one could object.
Mm,
In Europe, before the pandemic, nobody wore a mask. Literally, it was very, very rare. Maybe a tourist from
mm.
from China or Japan, we would see them with a mask, and we would say, "Ah, look, they have a mask." Um, and actually, even further, some countries in Europe have legislation against covering your face in public,
Mm.
because it is believed that it is enabling criminal activity if you have a mask, right?
Mm.
like we see in those fiction series that superheroes cannot wear masks because then they do wreak havoc in society. And it is mind blowing to me
Mm.
that today, end of March, end of May, after 3 months of the pandemic, teaching everybody that wearing masks is helpful to stop the infection, or at least slow down the
Mm.
infection.
Mm.
In the United States of America, there are people protesting
Yes.
because they want to keep their right to not wear a mask, and businesses that are stopping free people from entering their premises because they wear a mask, as if they were expressing a threatening
Mm.
condition to
Mm.
the
Mm.
business where they want to shop. It is mind blowing. So just as we can compare the different solutions and the different approaches,
Mhm.
societies are free whether they want to learn or they don't want to learn what are the best practices all over.
Um, it's most important part is actually each cultural difference, right? So in the beginning, only Asian people wear mask easily. There is actually two very important reason. One is that in Asia, in Japan, actually they have a problem for spring seed, whatever, just it's kind of dirt outside by
Or
trees.
they're
And yeah,
allergic.
allergy, yes, that's why Japanese people wear mask normally. In
Okay.
Korea, China, because of the industrialization in
Yeah.
Chinese countries, also there are so many cars around all around the
So
Korea and
air,
China.
air pollution
Air
against
pollution and micro dust actually happen all around the world. That's why we have to wear mask every springtime and fall time, because very very um, heavy dust actually came to Korea, also happening in Korea too. So that's why we wear mask normally. That's the first reason that we are easy to get used to wear mask.
yeah.
Second one is that it's kind of problem for the modernization, because Asian countries has their own manufacturing capability. We manufacture mask in Korea. China manufacture their mask in China. Japan, little bit less, but they made a little bit. So Taiwan also, they made their mask in Taiwan,
Yeah,
because
I
they
I
have a,
heard that the Taiwanese government gave huge incentives for the
that's right,
repositioning of production capacity in
that's
order
right,
to produce masks.
that's right. So we don't offshore for actually the mask manufacturing, whatever. That's why in the beginning when we use mask suddenly, we can manufacture. In the beginning we also have a shortage problem though. At last we control, and we can manufacture mask whatever we need. But European countries or US, they offshore every manufacturing capability to China or Asia. That's why they realize they need to wear mask, though they cannot find any mask from
Yeah, that's
public
right.
side.
That's
So
right.
that's two things actually happen for this modernization.
Um, so tell us about you a little
Mm.
bit. How did you come to do what you do? What is it that you do? And then we will take it from there.
Okay, sure, sure. Yeah, we miss my instruction. People doesn't know me. My name is Hugh, and I live in Seoul, and I work in based in Seoul, and my job is innovation catalyst and ecosystem builder. So I actually design innovation strategy, and also I help companies, corporate. Also, I help the government to make them innovation. So mostly I do the innovations project with the corporate and the startup, and also government. And in terms of ecosystem building, I'm the building the eco innovation ecosystem in terms of community, also the business model. So the I co-founded the financial network that is actually a community for the Asian innovators. So we have 150 people from more than 15 different cities. So the reason that why I co-founded this network is that we have to know each other. We have to collaborate each other for future uh, the innovation for good. That's why we gather together, and then we the tightly coupled with each other, and uh, suddenly we have a many different project ongoing each different cities. And also I'm doing the innovation ecosystem building type. So that's why maybe David already know that I my project is like fast build, or the innovation map, whatever. That is mostly about innovation things. So um listening, I do two different projects. One is that fast build. Fast build is that when you have any idea to prototype into the hardware, or any product, then I I set up the the platform for helping them into uh, um, the prototyping and manufacturing. So we have a very good partnership in Shenzhen, China. So they have a very good ecosystem for the hardware manufacturing. So we actually bring them in. I bring them into the China, Shenzhen, China, and then we have a very good idea. Then there are many partners in terms of industrial designers and investors and also solution partners and manufacturer. Then we collaborate each other and help them into past prototyping and manufacturing. So the purpose of this platform is that nowadays actually the making hardware is not easy, and the cost job, but using hardware ecosystem in China is easily, very efficiently we can make it. Also, one of other my project is that innovation map. Recently, I launched my project site. So innovation map is that in Korea we have a many innovative players actually working in Korea. Japan, they have their own innovators. They do many, project and campaigns. Italy also, you have a many, innovators, right? And China also. But there are so many important projects to learn and collaborate, but we don't know well. So I built that, platform for sharing innovative place and innovative player to each other. So I actually launched for publicize Korean innovators and Korean innovative place into the innovation map. So probably when you can come to you would like to learn about Korean innovative place or practice or case, or you want to meet other Korean players, just so you can watch, you can look at website, and probably you can contact them, or you can start collaborate. So that the URL is innovate.map.com. So INNO V 8 map.com. So I can put here.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
This is it, right?
Yeah, that's it. So I initially launched this project is a couple of weeks ago.
All right. Wonderful. So the innovation ecosystem, as rightly we are describing it, is the result of complex interactions between various components, and each of those components have to work in order for the ecosystem to be healthy. These are, of course, the entrepreneurs, the most important part, with their ideas. Also the intrapreneurs. Innovation not only resides in startups, but can also come from within large companies. An important example, for example, is the blue LED light. The blue light emitting diode has been invented within a large Japanese company by one of their researchers. And the person didn't leave to start their own company. Their employer issued a patent, and of course they are named as the inventor, and they received a nice bonus and hopefully also some royalties. But still the innovation happened inside the large company. Then other elements of the innovation ecosystem that are very important, of course, are availability of capital, risk capital, because moving from idea to prototype to product that is profitably available on the market, there's a long path. And during that path, capital is needed in order to understand how each step can be made. And then, of course, many others like accelerators and incubators that help the budding entrepreneurs become the CEOs of growing companies and understand how to build their marketing campaigns, as in your case, how to go from idea to design to hardware product with the manufacturing relationships that are very complex, and so on and so forth. So how would you characterize the situation in South Korea in general, and in Seoul in particular, between large companies and startups? Is the startup culture something that in Korea is starting to be important in the economy and seen as important, or mothers are still saying no, just go work? That is the safe choice.
Unfortunately, no. So we have a very special situation because Korean economy mostly dependent on larger corporate like Samsung, LG, and SK, whatever. So what that means is that Korean economy is kind of the conglomerate actually economy so far, because after Korean War, Korean economy is very, very low situation though, because of governmental aid and governmental strategy to support larger corporate, bring them into growth of economical strength. That's why Samsung, LG, SK, Hyundai Motors is kind of great players for Korean larger corporate innovation. But because of these things happen, small and medium companies is doing not good, and also the startup culture is not cultivated well. But recently, the good news is that many entrepreneurs and startup people actually try to challenge it, and because we pace to the mobile internet era, so everybody uses smartphone, everybody use the internet for the making another benefit, another value chain for the customer. So it is the niche opportunity for small companies and startup. Big companies like Jabber and conglomerate, they are quite stubborn. They have a big money, they have a big bundle, they are slow, they can decide fast enough. So that's why small companies make a good best practice like coupon, and also Market Curly, and what else? Wuhan Brothers. So we have a small companies actually make a good progress and good the best good, how to say, example. So youngsters actually start to realize, okay, challenge is something new, is quite valuable, quite worth it. That's why people start to found many startup at this moment. So in this decade, actually, there are so many startup founded, and then they start to move Korean economy a little bit. So that's why the Korean startup ecosystem is getting popular. And that, also, governmental aid actually, focus to pay more attention to the startup, support. That's why Korean government actually made a big fund for startup investment. So this money going to the VC and venture capital, risk capital partners, and then they actually start to invest this money to many different startup: blockchain, AI, robotics, and retail technology, AR, VR, and also big data and cloud. So we have a bunch of many startup coming out now, but still we have a small country. So that's why it means that we have a small market. So naturally we have to focus on global market. That's
Correct.
why
Another example, which when people talk about startups cannot be unmentioned, is Israel.
Israel, yes.
Israel, that has 6 million people in terms of population, if I'm not mistaken, and it is one of the most important innovators in the world, and one of the most important hubs in the startup culture and venture capital investment. So South Korea has how many people?
We have 55 million.
Okay, and so 10 times bigger, but of course much smaller than the European Union
Poland, yeah.
or the United States. It still needs to look outside. And so you are saying that among younger generations, this type of attitude that is also including risk taking and changing the assumed wisdom of the elders and really promoting new things is a mentality that is starting to taking root or has already taken root.
Yep, yep. So it's a kind of polarization because certain big group of the youngster actually also pursue their reliable stable job. For example, the governmental jobs or larger corporate employees, or past example the lawyers or doctors, whatever. Big bunch of people actually still pursue their stable job with a high salary, but even small percentage of people, maybe less than 20, less than 10, I don't know, but small percentage of youngsters realize startup culture, and also the making startup business model is very important for make a big improvement, also big opportunity. So we have those two different polarized the attitude for youngsters.
So how is your innovation map going to help the ecosystem? What do you expect the value of this map being, and how do you going to also improve it? What are the things that you would like to see happening with this valuable data?
Okay, sure. In the beginning, I just the make a little database for the Korean innovative plays and also players. So there are so many actually requests from outside my friends. Actually, where is the blockchain innovative player in Korea? Which player I have to meet in terms of AI and robotics. There are so many people ask me who is the good player, good company to meet. So we have a many innovative companies and entity in Korea. Though we don't have a how to consolidate information for them. So that's why I made a English version of consolidate innovation data. So there are so many people outside, not Korea, Japan, Italy, Europe, US, or China. They would like to learn about Korean company, learn about Korean innovation cases, or start to think about in collaboration with the Korean innovation players. Probably this map is helpful. So that's the first stage. But I would like to improve more information. Also, I bring collective intelligence to judge which companies, which players are really innovative. So I would like to bring them into here, then probably more objective. And also I would like to build another innovation players outside of Korea, probably Italy, maybe Europe, UK, Japan, because Korean. I believe the reason that I co-found the Pan-Asian Network is that I believe cooperation is most important part for next innovation. But in order to collaborate, we have to know each other. We have to build our trust, over long time, right? So it takes time. So in order to make that happen after a decade, we have to make a platform to know each other. So probably when I can introduce Italian innovative place for this site, probably Korean entrepreneurs or creative people or innovators, they would like to search, look up any collaboration opportunity. Probably they can meet each other, they can start to learn each other, they can start collaboration. So I would like to the reason that I build that this site is that I would like to trigger innovative collaboration over people all over the world. So that's my purpose.
And that kind of invitation, of course, is wonderful. I can already think of many people who will certainly take advantage of that and get in touch with you in order to explore what kind of possibilities are there.
Mm.
Now, whether it is the car with Hyundai starting decades ago, or whether it is the mobile phone with Samsung and LG and others more recently, Korea has been able to leverage industries and build global players. What is your expectation about new things that are coming on the horizon? What is there anything that you would highlight that you believe will be important and where you think Korea may play a role? One. And second, do you think these things develop spontaneously, or it is better to have a coordinated effort between private initiative and government support or coordination? And let me give you an example of the frontier, right? Space technologies are becoming much more accessible than not decades ago, when only superpowers would play. Private space enterprise is happening not only through SpaceX and Elon Musk, but for example, this was wonderful and to me very surprising. New Zealand initiated a space program that, according to Deloitte, generated more than 10,000 jobs last year and brought more than $1 billion to the New Zealand economy. And, if 10 years ago you would have said, oh, New Zealand is going to be a space power, everybody would laugh. So that is an example. What is your opinion around the collaboration of private and public programs? And what areas would you highlight that you have in mind where you believe that that Korea could play a role?
Okay, cool. So mostly Korean government, also Korean companies or any people in Korean actually don't believe the Korean can lead any leadership for the international matters. But because of COVID-19
examples in front of them. I mean, if somebody says, "Oh no, Korea cannot lead," look at Samsung.
No.
Like,
Okay. So that's big company. So Samsung, LG, LG. That is corporate conglomerate corporate. Only we have 10 companies like that, right?
Okay. So what you mean is that a startup that is born in Korea cannot grow big enough.
Yeah. So new players, because Samsung established more than 60 years ago. LG also the more than 70 years ago. So that's a long historical player. Is big company, but we don't have any brand new players to make that happen, because we don't believe we can make that. But because of COVID-19, we realize we actually have a trial and errors in the beginning of COVID-19. We have a high surge of impacted people, and we have to pursue their trajectory, and we have to cure. We have to quarantine them into hospital. We have a lot of issues, so we made an idea like breakthrough, drive-through inspection, the pass, or we have to many coin many different ideas. So after that, we start to under control that COVID-19 happening. So we went to the we start the national voting campaign. Also, we do start Korean baseball games into the in the stadium. Also, we start Korean soccer game in stadium without actually audience though. So we start something advanced in advanced in advance. That's why US actually start to broadcast our Korean baseball game into ESPN.
By desperation.
Yeah,
Just
what happened?
something.
Yeah, it's small countries, a small baseball game, but they broadcast. So we realized that okay, when we go to the first mover, we get try and errors in the beginning. Probably we can make something in front of other people, in front of other the country. So I think because of this type of experience is quite valuable. And in addition to this kind of experience, we also have a very worthy experience, because we change the polity. We impeach president before, right? And then
Yeah.
we change the government. So everybody has common experience for changing history, changing something like that. That's why it could be very big powerful next decade. So youngsters can challenge something new, blockchain business, AI business, whatever. So the surprising news is that a couple of days ago, in market cap capacity, actually the Kakao neighbor is kind of small IT company, but their market cap actually surpassed to the Hyundai Motors or other big companies. What that means is that nowadays small companies compete with the larger company in terms of speed, in terms of idea, in terms of innovation. So we start to believe that that's why this kind of innovation could be accelerated from this moment. And also I think Korean people is quite good at making content culture, because as you know, K-pop is quite popular all over the world, right? So small company, small country, we have a BTS, we have a Psy, is small boy band, the overwhelm all of the world, like Beatles. You know why? Because Korean people is quite good at making cultural difference, making storytelling, content-based business. Also, we are good at making something like intangible stuff, like AI, blockchain things, and also kind of the contactless retail technology, AR, VR, because AR, VR should be based upon content later, right? So that's why I believe Korean entrepreneurs, also Korean the startups could be go over the world with creativity, also based upon our cultures and our historical content, whatever. So I think I believe that those type of domain could be quite potential for Korean companies and countries.
Yeah, I think that looking at the stack, hardware, software, and content, it is very interesting that South Korean companies were able to produce world-leading hardware and content also that became with K-pop and Korean drama became hugely popular all over the world. So that kind of outlook is interesting. Also, when I was in Seoul, I of course used Kakao Map, which is much better than Google Maps in Korea. and I remember, maybe I will be able to find it. I took a screenshot of the route that I needed to take, and I was waiting for the bus to arrive, and the map would show me that it was coming in 40 seconds, in 35 seconds, in 30 seconds, and then the bus would be there. So this kind of very, very tight integration of Internet of Things, because of course the bus has the sensor, and it transmits the data, and then the map shows it. Those kinds of things are fantastic and very, very valuable. So there are a lot of things that we touched upon. What is the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is it Twitter, or how can they follow the things that you are doing? On your website there is a contact form as well. Should they use that to propose to collaborate and work together on the innovation map, maybe, or to propose that whether for the USA or Europe there should be some partnership? Is that a good way for them to get in touch with you?
Yes, please. Using the my website, personal website, is best in a way, because I can check daily, and also you can use my email. Twitter, I don't use the Twitter direct message well. So yeah, Twitter.
And what email should they use as they write to you?
Hugh Choi, HUCHOI @gmail.com.
Perfect.
So that is the easy way to contact me. And no. That is working though, but I prefer use is just HUCHY. HUCHY. Yes, gmail.com. No. Sorry, HUCHOI.
Okay.
Okay. So
let's try for the third time. HUCHOI.
Yes, @gmail.com. Yes. So first email that you share also working, but I use this email for prompt.
Wonderful. And of course it is great for people like you to create networks, right? As we said, your work with the Pan Asia Innovation Network, and now the Innovation Map. I think, as you said, that exchanging ideas and learning from other people what they do well or what mistakes they made that you want to avoid can be incredibly powerful. So Hugh, thank you very much for being with us on Searching for the Question Live today, and good luck with your projects, and congratulations for your progress so far.
Thank you for inviting me here, and it is great talk with you, and hopefully stay connected each other, and anything you need innovative collaboration from Korea, let me know. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Stay strong.
So thank you everybody for joining us today at Searching for the Question Live. If you speak Italian, I invite you to join and subscribe also to my Italian channel, and it is called Qual è la domanda? And you can easily find it going to davidorban.com/YouTube Italiano. And I also want to thank our supporters on Patreon who helped me and my team creating this and the other shows and all the content that we put online. And if you want to become a supporter of Searching for the Question Live, you can do so on patreon.com/David Orban. And see you at the next episode. Thank you, and bye-bye.